Wyoming, a land of endless skies, snow-capped mountains, and golden plains that stretch beyond the horizon. It looks like a postcard, a real-life painting. So why does nobody live here? In a state larger than the United Kingdom, fewer than 600,000 people call it home. That's less than 0.2% of America's population. This is the least populated state in the nation, and it's not because people haven't heard of it. It's because life here? It's tough. We're talking blizzards that trap you indoors, wind that shakes your soul, towns without doctors, and roads that vanish under snow. Wyoming is beautiful, but it's brutal. For many, it's paradise lost. In this video, we're diving into some real reasons why the American dream just doesn't work here. Number 1. Brutally harsh winters. Living in Wyoming during the winter isn't just difficult, it's like a survival challenge. Imagine waking up and seeing snowdrifts that have buried your car. Again, with average low temperatures in places like Jackson, Laramie, and Sheridan regularly dropping to below 0 degrees Fahrenheit minus 18 degrees Celsius in January, this state transforms into a deep freeze for nearly half the year. Some areas, especially those near the Tetons, see snowfall exceeding 200 inches annually. And this isn't fluffy postcard snow. It's the heavy, icy kind that sticks around until April or even May. But it's not just the snow, it's the wind and ice that make it worse. Wyoming isn't protected by major mountain ranges like Colorado is to the south, so Arctic blasts sweep down and batter everything in their path. Combine 30 to 60 miles per hour winds with sub-zero temperatures, and you get dangerous wind chills plunging to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, or worse. For ranchers and rural families, this means chopping wood, digging out livestock, and driving icy, snow-packed roads just to buy groceries. And those roads? They're often closed. Interstate 80, the major east-west artery, can shut down for days due to blizzards or ground blizzards, where high winds whip existing snow into whiteout conditions. That means deliveries halt, stores run low, and travel plans crumble. Towns like Rawlins or Rock Springs frequently find themselves cut off. These winters don't just inconvenience people, they drive them away. Elderly residents often relocate to nearby states like Colorado or Arizona, where winters are gentler and healthcare is more accessible. Even younger people tend to leave after a few seasons of icy mornings, frozen pipes, and scraping windshields every single day. So while Wyoming's winter landscapes are stunning to look at, living through them is another story. You don't just need a coat, you need snow tires, chains, emergency supplies, and a serious tolerance for being stuck indoors. Brutal winters in Wyoming are more than a season. They're a lifestyle. And for many, it's a lifestyle they're simply not willing to endure. Number 2. Relentless winds. If you think snow is Wyoming's worst weather problem, wait until you meet the wind. Wyoming isn't just breezy, it's one of the windiest places in the entire United States. In fact, cities like Rawlins, Casper, and Cheyenne regularly clock wind speeds over 30 to 50 miles per hour, with gusts sometimes pushing 70 miles per hour. That's not a one-time storm, it's normal life. Ask any local, and they'll tell you the wind isn't something that comes and goes. It just lives here. The geography is partly to blame. Wyoming is positioned in the path of strong jet streams and has wide-open plains with few natural barriers like large forests or tall buildings to break the wind. The result? Constant, pounding gusts that shake windows, slam car doors, and flip your trash bins weekly. And don't even think about wearing a hat. It's gone. This kind of wind is more than annoying. It physically wears you down. You wake up to it, drive through it, and try to sleep while it whistles through your siding. For homeowners, it causes serious maintenance headaches, loose shingles, rattling fences, and dust everywhere. For drivers, especially truckers on Interstate 80, strong crosswinds are so dangerous that the highway is often closed to high-profile vehicles. It's not just inconvenient, it's deadly. even everyday life becomes exhausting. Outdoor activities like biking, hiking, or barbecuing? Forget it. That dreamy Wyoming ranch house with mountain views might come with sideways snow and airborne patio furniture. Want to plant a garden? You'll need windbreaks, mesh, and luck. And the wind isn't just bad for people, it's a deal breaker for businesses too. High winds can make construction projects, farming, and even energy production difficult and expensive. Ironically, while Wyoming has huge wind energy potential, those same gusts discourage infrastructure development in many regions. The wind in Wyoming isn't a seasonal event, it's a permanent personality trait of the state. And while a few hardy souls can adapt, many can't stand the constant howling, dirt-filled air, and structural damage. For those dreaming of peaceful countryside living, Wyoming's wind quickly becomes a nightmare, and one of the biggest reasons people simply choose not to stay. Number 3. Sparse population and social isolation. Wyoming is the least populated state in the United States, with just 578,000 people spread across 97,000 square miles. To put that into perspective, that's fewer people than live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, scattered across a landmass larger than the entire United Kingdom. That's a population density of under 6 people per square mile, which means your nearest neighbor might be miles away, literally. And while that solitude may sound dreamy to some, for many, it translates into deep social isolation. In small Wyoming towns, the sense of community can be strong, but it's also extremely small and tight-knit, which can make it hard for newcomers to fit in. Many people find that making friends or finding social activities is incredibly limited, especially if you don't hunt, ranch, or participate in rodeo culture. If you're single, dating options are almost non-existent. Apps like Tinder and Bumble in Wyoming often run out of matches after 15 swipes. Not because you're picky, but because there just aren't that many people to choose from. And it's not just a matter of loneliness. It's about access. With so few people spread so far apart, there are limited clubs, gyms, restaurants, or entertainment venues. Want to see a movie? You may need to drive an hour. Need a group fitness class or a local concert? Good luck. Those events are rare. For people who thrive on connection, creativity, or culture, the day-to-day lifestyle can feel suffocating. Even families struggle with the isolation. Children often grow up without access to competitive sports leagues, art classes, or even enough classmates to form a school band. In extremely rural areas, schools combine grade levels because of low enrollment, which limits social and academic development. Mental health is another concern. Social isolation is a known contributor to depression and anxiety, and Wyoming has one of the highest suicide rates in the country, according to CDC data. A major factor? Lack of connection, long winters, and the crushing quiet that comes with life in a nearly empty landscape. Living in Wyoming means living with distance, not just geographic, but emotional and social too. For many Americans accustomed to community, diversity, and activity, that emptiness becomes overwhelming. It's not just space, it's silence. And for a lot of people, that's a deal breaker. Number 4, lack of big cities and entertainment. If you're looking for a vibrant city lifestyle with buzzing nightlife, live concerts, art museums, and late-night food trucks, Wyoming might leave you sorely disappointed. The entire state doesn't have a single metro area, with a population over 100,000. Its largest city, Cheyenne, only has about 65,000 residents, while Casper, the second largest, hovers around 58,000. That's smaller than most U.S. suburbs. There are no sprawling skylines, no major sports teams, no big-name concert arenas, and no bustling urban energy. This lack of urban density has major consequences when it comes to entertainment and amenities. Want to see a Broadway play, an NBA game, or a chart-topping artist on tour? You'll have to drive to Denver, roughly 2 to 5 hours away, depending on where you live. Fancy a trendy cocktail bar or authentic ethnic cuisine? options are extremely limited. Even finding an indie bookstore or a specialty coffee shop can be a struggle outside of Laramie or Jackson. For younger people, especially Gen Z and millennials, this limited social and cultural scene is a major drawback. Nightlife is practically non-existent in most towns. Many bars close early, and events are usually small-town festivals or rodeos. While charming, these can get repetitive for those craving diverse experiences. Retail therapy? Forget it. Wyoming doesn't have a single Nordstrom, Apple Store, or IKEA. Malls are few and often outdated. Amazon is a lifeline here, not just for gadgets, but for basics that residents in other states can grab down the street. And let's not forget the sheer driving distance between towns. Wyoming's entertainment options are not only few, they're also spread far apart. You might drive 2 hours to catch a movie in a decent theater. For many, especially those relocating from urban or suburban areas, the lack of city life in Wyoming isn't just inconvenient, it's unbearable. While the landscape offers plenty of beauty and outdoor recreation, the absence of entertainment and nightlife makes it clear why many people just can't see themselves calling Wyoming home long-term. Number 5. Limited job opportunities. For anyone trying to build a career outside of agriculture, energy, or tourism, Wyoming can feel like a dead end. The state's economy is heavily dependent on natural resources, mainly coal, oil, natural gas, and ranching. While those industries do offer solid jobs, they're narrow in scope, highly cyclical, and vulnerable to global price swings. When coal prices crash or oil rigs shut down, entire towns feel the ripple effect. In 2025, the state's unemployment rate may look low on paper, hovering around 3.4%, but that number can be misleading. Many people simply leave the state when jobs dry up, especially young adults. The labor force participation rate is among the lowest in the nation for people under 35, largely because Wyoming offers few options for upward mobility or industry diversity. If you're a tech worker, designer, engineer, or creative professional, job opportunities are slim. Wyoming lacks major corporations and has no Fortune 500 headquarters. Remote work is possible, but internet access in rural areas remains unreliable, and co-working spaces are rare outside of Laramie or Jackson. Even healthcare jobs, one of the fastest-growing sectors nationally, are limited here due to the shortage of hospitals and clinics. The public sector, state and federal government jobs, does offer stability, but it can't absorb everyone. Tourism also brings seasonal jobs to places like Yellowstone and Grand Teton, but many of those positions are temporary, low-paying, and come with high housing costs in tourist areas. For entrepreneurs, starting a business here is a challenge. Low population density means a smaller customer base. Opening a cafe, shop, or service-based business requires either targeting tourists or surviving on a small-town economy. It's no wonder that so many Wyoming natives move away for better opportunities, and so few outsiders move in to work. When you can't find a decent job, you can't build a life. And without economic diversity, Wyoming struggles to attract and retain talent. It's a stunning place to visit, but for many, not a place to grow a career. Number 6. Healthcare access is a challenge. For all its stunning scenery and wide-open spaces, Wyoming has a serious healthcare problem. And for many residents, it's more than an inconvenience. It's a daily risk. Wyoming consistently ranks among the worst states in America for healthcare access, especially in rural areas. In fact, nearly 25% of Wyomingites live more than 60 miles from the nearest full-service hospital. That's not just far, it's life-threatening in an emergency. The state only has 28 hospitals total, serving nearly 100,000 square miles. Some entire counties don't have a single hospital, and many towns rely on small clinics that can't handle serious trauma, specialized care, or childbirth complications. If you need a specialist, a cardiologist, neurologist, or oncologist, you'll likely need to drive to Colorado, Utah, or South Dakota. That could mean a 4 to 6 hour round trip just for a consultation. Even within larger towns like Casper or Cheyenne, there's a shortage of medical professionals. Wyoming has one of the lowest physician-to-patient ratios in the country, with just one primary care doctor per 1,400 residents. Mental health services are even worse, with only a handful of licensed therapists scattered across the state. The result? Long wait times, rushed appointments, and delayed diagnoses. And then there's the cost. Despite the low population, healthcare in Wyoming is expensive. Insurance premiums are high, and many plans come with limited coverage due to the lack of in-network providers. Medicaid expansion has been hotly debated and inconsistently implemented, leaving many low-income residents uninsured or underinsured. For families, this lack of access is a deal-breaker. If your child has asthma, diabetes, or a disability, living hours away from pediatric specialists just isn't feasible. For seniors, who often need regular checkups and chronic care management, Wyoming can be downright dangerous. Telehealth has helped somewhat, but internet access is unreliable in many rural areas, making even virtual care a gamble. And for emergencies, no Zoom call will replace an ER visit. The bottom line: if something goes wrong in Wyoming, help is often far away. And in matters of health, distance can be deadly. It's one of the biggest reasons families and retirees look elsewhere, and why so few are willing to stay long-term. Number 7. Too much open land, not enough infrastructure. At first glance, Wyoming's vast open spaces feel like paradise. Rolling plains, towering peaks, and skies that seem to stretch forever. But that same jaw-dropping openness comes at a steep cost: infrastructure. Wyoming has 97,000 square miles of territory, yet fewer than 600,000 residents to support the cost of roads, utilities, broadband, and essential services. That math doesn't work in the long run, and residents feel it every day. Let's start with transportation. Public transit? Almost non-existent. Outside of a few city buses in Cheyenne and Casper, Wyoming is a car-dependent state. And not just any car. You'll need a reliable 4x4 with snow tires to get through icy winters and long gravel roads. Many people drive 50-plus miles just to reach a grocery store, bank, or pharmacy. Need a mechanic or tow truck in a remote area? Expect to wait hours if you have cell service. Utilities are another issue. In rural areas, it's common to rely on propane tanks for heating, septic systems, and well water. There's no gas line or municipal sewer system in most towns. And if the power goes out during a snowstorm, which happens often, it might be days before it's restored. The sparse population makes it uneconomical for utility companies to prioritize upgrades or respond quickly. Then there's the digital divide. Wyoming ranks near the bottom in broadband access, especially in rural counties. More than 20% of residents still lack access to high-speed internet. This isn't just frustrating, it's crippling for remote work, online education, telehealth, and small business operations. In 2025, that's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Even cellular coverage is hit or miss. Entire regions have 0 bars, forcing travelers to carry paper maps or emergency radios. Services like Amazon, Instacart, or Uber are either extremely limited or unavailable. And when infrastructure fails, there's no quick fix, because technicians are few, distances are vast, and the tax base isn't large enough to fund major improvements. For many people, infrastructure is what makes life functional. And in Wyoming, the lack of it makes life harder. The beauty is real, but so are the sacrifices. When the nearest hospital is 2 hours away and your internet cuts out every time it snows, it's no wonder people think twice before calling Wyoming home.